So welcome to Toolkit Tuesday. It's a wonderful lunch and learn. So if you brought your lunch with you, please feel free to eat it. Toolkit Tuesday is, of course, I need to mention our wonderfully generous sponsors. We have everyone from ISU Corp Software to Morexis and OKR Financial, Reese Informatica, Invest in Guelph and BDO as our wonderful corporate sponsors who without their support and guidance, we wouldn't be able to offer awesome programs like this to all of you entrepreneurs. So want to tell you a little bit about, I'm not going to talk too much about Innovation Guelph. I'm pretty sure that most of you know who we are and what we do, but we are a regional innovation center specializing in mentorship and support and workshops. We support entrepreneurs at all stages of growth from post idea to scaling. So if you have not yet made any revenue but are working on your business full time in a scalable and innovative industry, or you are a $26 million company, we have programs that that we can work with you on and help you get to that next level. So today we are focused on Facebook for Business, which seems to be a hot topic. In this 90-minute session, we're going to learn how to effectively use Facebook business tools to ensure that your online audience receives the most important information about your business, from understanding algorithms to using stories, live videos, and holiday campaigns. Social media strategist Tim Campbell-Smith on your screen in that lovely white shirt. Tim has you covered and will answer your most pressing questions about how to maximize your Facebook page. So of course it's presented by Tim Campbell-Smith. Tim is an industry specialist at IG. As well, he is a social marketer and strategist. So Tim Campbell-Smith is so extroverted, they put the social back in social media. That's one of the best intros I have ever heard. It fits Tim to a T. So Tim has clients all around North America, works with all kinds of different entrepreneurs and enterprises and industries and organizations on helping strategize social media for all kinds of different people. So Tim is a wonderful person to be presenting today's session on Facebook. So Tim, I'm going to hand it over to you. We are going to be collecting questions. Tim will be asking for questions. So between Jordan, who is here with me from Innovation Guelph, between Jordan and I, we will be collecting your questions and asking Tim. But we also have an organized Q&A session at the end of the session. Tim's going to be asking that you keep a lot of the ad questions until the end. But of course, any other questions we will take throughout the presentation. If you have a burning question, please just make sure we know through the chat box at the bottom of your screen. All right, over to you, Tim.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mickey. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to talk about Facebook. This is something I nerd out for a lot. So please know, just like Mickey said, we're going to have questions throughout, because I understand it can be hard to sit on questions. And then we will definitely have designated time up to, around half an hour at the end. So don't be afraid to hold on to those in the chat as we go, or share them at the end. So today, kind of what we're doing in overview. I'm going to apologize. We're going to try and squeeze in a lot of information in a very tiny amount of time. So when talking about Facebook and Facebook for Business, I kind of like to start off with, why do we even use Facebook in the first place? And I kind of have a way of thinking about Facebook that I want to share with you that maybe may get the juices flowing a bit. I want to talk about features. A big part of my job and what I tell people I do is I really just show you all the crayons in the box that are available to you. And I want to encourage you to color with as many crayons as make a picture that makes sense in your business. I want to talk about posting and some posting best practices and a couple hacks and tricks, and especially some recent changes to posting for Facebook in the last year and a half, 2 years. Then we're going to go into kind of scheduling, and I want to give you the secret hack around saving time so that Facebook isn't sucking your time and energy and life force. We're going to quickly just touch on reviews of social engagement and why that social proof is so important. And then we're going to finish on ads. And I'm going to apologize. Ads tends to be a hot topic, and we could be here for hours just talking about ads alone. But today I'm going to give you just like a couple brief notes on ads. All sounds good? Beautiful. Okay, so let's plow through here. So why even Facebook in the first place? I'm not I'm not going to be that person who says, well, it's the world's largest platform. Blah. You know, it's gigantic. And yes, it's huge. It's awesome. But it's also just really, really powerful. The options that you have, the opportunities that you have. Here's the biggest way that I like to think about Facebook. And I want to encourage you to think about Facebook. Think of Facebook like a pseudo website because you have so much internet traffic available to you with over 2.2 billion people using it and coming to it on a monthly basis. Because as businesses, we create pages. If your business is a personal profile and not a page, talk to me. We can fix that. It should be a page. Your page has so many cool creative features available to it. We're going to go over a bunch of those today. But the way that you can move it and manipulate it and play with it and direct traffic to it, I want you to think about Facebook like it is a pseudo website, that you have that level of creativity. Now, mind you, it's kind of like a plug and play. Think like if you had like a Wix website or those other like plug and play website creators, it's kind of like that. You have so many options. It's versatile. There's a huge catchment of audience available to you. So I want you to think about Facebook in that terms. When you're thinking about it, think, you know, what are all the features available to me? How can I creatively do this? And am I playing with my options? That kind of thing. Facebook, huge, cannot be ignored. But let's talk about features. Let's talk about how to actually make this worthwhile, make this enjoyable, make this a really cool experience. Please note, there is no easy way to identify every single feature, and we could be here for hours again talking about all the features. But I want to list a few here for you that are really, really cool, and I want you to be thinking about in your business. So groups. Yes, you have pages, but your page can create and moderate a group. And think about that just like in the real world. If you had a group of like people, we are a group of like people actually. Innovation Guelph has brought us together. So we could be like a group. Innovation Guelph would be its own thing. That would be like its page, but then it could have a group. So you have groups available to you. Another, and we'll get into this a little bit more in posting, but another reason why I love groups, and I want you to think about groups on your Facebook and on your Facebook page, is that we know when we post to our pages, organic reach, that's the number of people who will see a post when you just post it, the number of people who see your posts is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Facebook is making their platform kind of a pay to play model for businesses a little more and more. But groups is a really powerful and fun way to circumnavigate that, to get around it so that more people see your stuff. And let's be honest, we all love being, you know, people love being in community with others that they are alike. So in your business, in every business, there are opportunities for bringing groups together. So that's a really cool feature. Something else I really love and I want to highlight is reviews. You know, yes, you can get Google reviews. I want you to think about in your business, where can you get reviews? Where can you get social proof from other people that you are doing good business and that you are in business. And we'll talk about reviews and a couple best practices around that later. But think about your reviews. Your profile header, your profile picture and your header photo, how people know it's you and how they get to know your brand. That's a really powerful and first visual way. So you can play with those. The other thing that I love, and here's a little secret trick for you, when you upload, or change your profile picture or your header photo, that counts as a post. And you can modify it so when people click on your profile picture or your header photo, you can add a description and more importantly, a link. So for example, I have an example here of Social Media Pro. I got the screenshot when they were preparing for their video summit. If you clicked on that header photo, there was a link available to register for the summit. And people often in their header photo say, click this image for a link. So that's another touch point that you can create with your profile picture, your header photos. Also remember that these actually don't have to be videos or photos, they can be videos. So if you want a profile video instead of a profile picture, you want a header video instead of a header photo, that's another really cool opportunity available to you. Ads, obviously. In terms of ads, here's some kind of a shift in thinking I want to encourage. Rather than thinking about ads in terms of putting money to get a post or to get something seen by more people, think about all the data available. How can we use the data collected on over 2 billion people, collected on a daily basis? How can we use that to make sure the right message gets in front of the right person at the right time? You'd be surprised all the different ways you're providing information to Facebook. And we can certainly talk about that if anybody's curious about a couple of hacks I've got. I can share that in the ad section. But that's a way to think about ads, is what data that's available and how can you put the right message in front of the right person at the right time. Pinned posts. When you do a post, you can pin it to the top of the page. This is another cool feature where people come to your profile and every single time they're going to see the same thing first. I love using this if we're really promoting something, if we're focusing on something, if there's something you really want people to see, pin that post, keep it at the top of the page so that every time we come to it, we see the same thing. Obviously, after that, we have shop, and I should have included it here, but not just shop for products, but services. Depending on what kind of business you're in, or if you've got both available, you can absolutely list both. This is actually a really cool new change with the newest Facebook that's being rolled out right now. The shop platform is even bigger and better and integrated with more things. It is way easier to sell and to be engaged in e-commerce on Facebook these days. So you can absolutely set up a shop. If you offer services, that's a tab that you can create as well. You can actually list specifically the services you offer, the price, how to engage in them, that kind of thing. So I want you to play with that. And that's all part of your menu. You have a lot of different menu options available to you. The last big feature that I want to talk about here is Facebook Live. And we'll certainly talk about this in the content section. But you can do live video streaming. So, and now Facebook's made it even better and easier to do that and to integrate that with other things. So for example, if Innovation Guelph wanted, they could connect Zoom with Facebook Live, and this whole broadcast as it's happening could be broadcasted live. That's one way to do it. You can also, just get it on Facebook Live and start doing your thing. There's a million different reasons, a million different ways that you can do live, but I want you to think about that live video streaming. It's a very powerful tool to play with. Before I go much further beyond that, any burning questions right out of the gate?
We have a question in the chat box for you, Tim. Allison's asking, in light of their growing pay-to-play model, should every single post be boosted with at least a little money in order to be seen?
I could not have planted that question. So I don't know if I would say every single post should be posted. And ultimately, it's about your budget, what works for you and your business, where you're at financially. However, I do recommend frequently, I call it micro boosting posts. $5, $10 for a couple days just to get in front of more people. Just make sure you're really specific in where that ad is going. But yes, I do recommend frequent micro boosting when revenue allows. Great question.
Awesome, thank you. And our next question is from Juliet. How to leverage the shop function that you spoke about if you have your own e-commerce?
Oh yeah, so really just what it is. And it's not like we're not asking you to compete like Facebook versus your own. I'm going to use Shopify for an example. This is not a straight up endorsement of Shopify. It's just an easy example. But if you have a Shopify website, what the shop actually does, you don't actually check out only on Facebook. You end up connecting to the e-commerce platform, and they're the ones that facilitate the sale. So it's actually a both and. It's just make sure that you have the e-commerce set up. You're putting it on Facebook so that you have that increased touch point, and it's just that much easier rather than having to direct someone to a different page, to a purchase page. And otherwise, just make sure that your product catalog is up to date and accurate. Post about your products and make sure it's tagged so that people can purchase when you're posting on Facebook, and you're off to the races. Great question. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, Juliet says thank you as well. And our last question for this, does Facebook Live get posted for those that miss it at the time? Leslie is wondering.
Yes, that's an excellent question. You know what I also love about Facebook Live? Actually, I'm going to give you both both things, is you go live and a lot of your audience gets a notification that you are live and it looks like a post. So it does count as a post. It lives on your Facebook. Except say your Facebook Live doesn't go well or it's exclusive, you can, at the end of your live broadcast, Facebook asks you, do you want to post this or do you want to delete this? And you can't delete it. So if you want to save it for people who missed it, yes, you absolutely can. If you want to delete it because it didn't go as well, you can absolutely delete it as well. Both options are available to you. Great question. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. And that's it for now.
Perfect. So let's talk about posting best practices, because often, we can't not talk about posting. Often we talk about posting. There's a few things that I want you to know when it comes to posting on Facebook. When I look at people's Facebooks, here are the first things that I look for, the first things that I make notes on, and the first thing I get groans from. So please don't hate me for what I'm about to tell you. But here's some best practices around posting. One, let's talk about the hierarchy real quick. The algorithm. The algorithm is a mathematical formula that decides who sees what when. And we know there are, for Facebook, there's over, I think the last number I heard was 57 different things that help decide who sees what when. We know some of them. Facebook will tell us some of them, and there are some of them that we can massage and we can manipulate. The type of content is one of the biggest things that we can massage and manipulate so that more people see our content. That hierarchy of content starts with live video. Live video is the strongest type of content we can post. However, live video is not accessible for everyone. It doesn't always make sense for everyone in every business. So if it's not live video, it's organic video. What I mean by organic video is that you actually take a video file and you upload it onto Facebook, not a YouTube link. Y'all may know that you post like a YouTube link on Facebook. You can click to watch the video. You can see the description. It looks like it's there, but it's actually not. It's got to be the original video file onto Facebook. That's an organic video. After organic video, if you can't do that, then pictures, posting a picture is next on the hierarchy. That's the most common one that I see people go to. After pictures, and this is where now the algorithm actually starts to punish these kind of posts. It doesn't let as many people see your posts. If you're posting an external link to redirecting traffic to YouTube, say, or a blog, those kind of things are getting punished. The quick rationale behind it is all of these social media platforms, these are major corporations that are making billions of dollars. Their best interests come first before ours. So how do these platforms make more money? They make more money the longer we're on them. So if we're directing traffic away from them, we're directing money away from their money makers. So that's why links kind of get harmed in the algorithm, is because you're pointing away from, in this case, Facebook's moneymaker. The final one, and this is like, don't do this. If you're thinking about doing this, call me. We'll have an intervention. I'll help. Is just plain text. If you post just plain text and post it, nothing else, not many people are gonna see it. At the very least, if you can, attach a picture or a video to it. Picture at the very least. If you've got to go with a stock photo or something you screenshot, that's fine, but attach a photo. Don't ever just do a plain text post. People are not gonna see it. That's what I have to say about that. So those are, that's the hierarchy of content. Excuse me. A couple other tips on when it comes to posting. Keep it varied. Make it interesting. Everyone knows in their gut, at the very least, depending on training or experience, what looks interesting. But we all know when something looks interesting and when it doesn't. Keep it varied, keep it interesting. The other thing I really want to say is less is more. Over my career, I've heard terrifyingly high numbers of how often people think they need to be posting on Facebook. How often you should be posting depends on the size of your audience. But when I hear that, like, oh, if you have 100 page followers, you should be posting twice a day, every day. Yikes! No, in that case, less is more. In many, many cases, and please drop it into the comments, if you have more than like 3,000 page followers, you're going to be the exception to what I'm about to say. But if you have more than 3,000 page followers, call me. I want to know what you're up to. If you have less than 3,000, I would say 3 to 4 times a week, and even that can be a little on the heavier end, you're doing fine. Remember, sometimes less is more. I also want you to remember to use all your options. Creating an event. So event is an option, creating a group, updating your profile picture. These things count as posts. So if you're struggling with, what should I be posting? Oh, but I also should be updating my profile picture. Updating your profile picture counts as a post. And a great deal of your audience is going to see that. So remember, you have options to play with. The final thing I want to say about posting, and this is quite a new development, is yes, use hashtags, but 2 to 5 and you're off to the races, just like you would on Twitter or Instagram or anything, at the bottom of the post, not in the first comment, but in the post. Facebook, in trying to compete with, Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn and these others, wanted to make hashtags work. For a long time, hashtags did not really work. They did not increase discoverability. It was not an enjoyable experience trying to find what you were looking for, but it's gotten far better now. And Facebook has come out and said, yes, we are rewarding posts that include hashtags. So 2 to 5 hashtags at the bottom of your post, and you're good to go. Questions on posting?
We have a chat box question. I think you mostly answered it, but let's just clarify. Allison's wondering, is this slide ranked according to best impact for Facebook algorithm? So I guess my personal follow-up would be, like, how many of these suggestions would you suggest combining in one post? Should you always strive for live video first? Like, what would be the hierarchy when you're trying to target people?
Yeah. If anyone did more than one live video a week, I'd be so impressed. As much as this is advice we get, and Facebook puts out this advice for everybody across the board, we're all in different situations. Even everyone on this call, we're at different stages in our business. So it honestly depends on your situation. If you can do more than like one live video a week, you're crushing it. Honestly, do the best you can do in your moment. I understand that it's easy to fall on pictures, and if all you've got in you is pictures, you don't have it in you, or maybe like there's not the confidence to show up on video, or live video just is totally inaccessible. That's okay. Start with where you are first, do your best, and then move up from posting pictures, working on your frequency, using your options, videos, live videos. Does that answer the question?
I think so. Allison can jump in if it wasn't answered. Allison says yes. So thank you. Our next question, just to clarify, Heather's wondering, you said 3 to 5 posts a week is more than enough. And I know you were talking in terms of pages, 3,000 followers or less. So that was the ballpark for them?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Are there any apps you suggest for making videos to post? Leslie has tried Vidyard and BigVoo. Any thoughts on those, or any other ones that you could suggest?
I have to apologize. I don't have many suggestions. Vidyard is my go-to when I have used it. The only other video service I've actually ever used was to help me with live streaming and to make my live streaming a little bit better experience. And I personally use StreamYard. The jury's still out on that one. It's cool, it's interesting, it's got some limitations. So check it out, but at this point, I'm not fully endorsing it. That's where I'm at. But I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for video options. Otherwise, I just recommend people get in front of the camera and go and use whatever editing software you have available on your computer.
Awesome, thank you. Can you repeat that one that you just mentioned again, Tim? Could you repeat it?
StreamYard is the name of the video company that they've got a bunch of different plugins and options for doing live video streams. Like you can put your name in the corner, you can do like a slideshow presentation during your live video broadcast with it. I'm sure there's way more features that I'm still just learning myself.
Awesome, thank you. Nell has a really good question that I was wondering too. Should or can the photos and video that you post to your Facebook be the same content that you use on your Instagram? Mostly asking again in terms of photos and video specifically.
Oh, this is a good one. So I'm all about repurposing content and using it to its maximum potential. So on one hand, I'm going to say yes. But here's the other thing that if nothing else, friends, you hear from me, this is what I want you to hear when it comes to content on multiple platforms. Do not ever post the same content at the same time to different platforms. Oftentimes you hear it go from Instagram to Facebook. In this case, we can go Facebook to Instagram, where you do a post on Facebook, you use that exact picture, that exact caption, and then you put it on Instagram. Don't do it. Vary it up, move the dates and times when it's posting. We know people go platform to platform to platform, learning about us, learning about our products and services, and building trust. Kind of thing, somewhere along the journey. Usually it happens later on as well. And people know, people can see when you've just done the same post at the same time to different platforms. Don't do it. Move it around, repurpose and reconfigure it that way. But yes, you can. Great question.
Awesome, thank you. And Natalina's wondering, how many posts per week would you recommend for 6,500 followers, and I guess just those over 3,000, because we probably do have a couple. So what would you recommend? How do you shift for them?
Yeah, at 6,500, and here's why I kind of changed the benchmark at 3,000. At that point, you really have a community, and you have people who have a vested interest in something. Oftentimes, like a common thing that I see in pages that have made it that big is that you're bringing them along a journey for something and providing like a constant source of information or like products or services that people commonly consume. So at that point, I would start to say, look at one post a day every day, should be the base benchmark, and then only do an extra 1 to 2 posts, so no more than 3 posts a day. Never, like, no matter the size of the Facebook page, no more than 3 posts a day. That's the absolute glass ceiling that I want you to think about. So benchmark 1 post per day, and then a second one if there's really big things happening, really big promotions, it's Christmas or like a big holiday, that kind of thing. That would be my benchmark to look at for those bigger pages. Great question. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. And then Juliet has a follow-up from our last answer from the content on multiple platforms. So do you not recommend posting the same content at the same time across platforms, or it's more about adapting the content to suit the platform? Like, what is the reasoning behind that?
It's both, actually. So audiences are different on platforms. Your LinkedIn users are not like your Instagram users. Your Facebook users are not like all Twitter users. Those are different audiences, and they're there for different reasons. However, if there's 2 platforms that are closely related, depending on your audience, it's going to be Facebook and Instagram. I would also argue that Instagram and TikTok are going to be very, very similar. I would argue that in some cases, LinkedIn and Twitter can be similar, but it's respecting that your audiences are different. They're there for different reasons. They're expecting different things. So that's one reason why, that's a big reason why I recommend your content be like tweaked and changed just at least a little bit for each platform. But then also, yes, like the trust building, and when people do go platform to platform, we want to provide a little bit of variety. So yeah, great question.
Okay, thank you. That was our last question. Natalina added, the new Business Suite app doesn't have a lot of flexibility with posting at different times with Instagram and Facebook. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, the new Business Suite, I have a love-hate relationship. For anybody who doesn't know, Facebook trying to release like all these different things to make it cooler and better and easier to be in business. Here's the problem: is they roll it out without it fully being developed and thought through, which is why often users find the bugs. We're going to talk about it actually in the section about scheduling posts and Facebook Creator Studio. I say rely on that. Yeah, Business Suite, I say give it another 3 months before they're really getting the kinks out of it and it's usable. Good question. And I'm sorry that it's less than ideal right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. That's it for now. So please continue.
Perfect. Let's talk about scheduling posts. If you don't know about this already and this idea, I'm about to blow your mind. And if you do, please use this. It's a great time-saving hack. Scheduling posts. You do not have to be posting in real time, live, Monday through Sunday, whenever things are happening or whenever you need to. There is an app, or actually it's not an app, it's built within the Facebook suite, Facebook Creator Studio. And I actually did just find out, you can go to fb.com/creator studio or facebook.com/creator studio, and that's how you can access it. Facebook Creator Studio is basically like all things like Content Hub and content planning for Facebook and Instagram. So it allows you to create posts, see your posts, see the analytics behind it, run ads, play with it, that kind of thing. Today, and in today's context, we're just talking about scheduling content. So you can draft up, and I mean the full post, full of, like, with all the features that are available on Facebook. Beforehand, we used to talk about scheduling Facebook posts via like third-party platforms. You may have heard of names like Hootsuite, Buffer, or Sprout Social. Facebook, and this is why I'm talking about Facebook Creator Studio specifically, Facebook favors Creator Studio. So that's why I want to recommend in this context, in this case for Facebook and Instagram, that we use Facebook Creator Studio. You're able to schedule Facebook posts and Instagram posts. What I love about this is I love, find like your platform that you're most comfortable with, or maybe that you have the highest posting frequency. Draft up your post, copy, paste it into the other platform where you want to repurpose it. Just make sure it's on a different day. That's where you make your tweaks and you schedule it and you're good to go. So say you have an hour of free time, you're in between meetings or it's Monday morning, whenever you have extra time, that's a great time to sit down and to schedule some posts that it's going out on an automatic basis. Really cool thing that I want you to keep your eyes out for. And for anybody who knows Instagram, I know this is a little outside of our realm, but right now you can only schedule posts, like regular posts on Facebook and Instagram. But for anybody who knows Instagram, knows that Instagram stories are huge. The ability to schedule stories is coming soon to Facebook Creator Studio. So if you're like me, that's a very exciting thing. So just a heads up on that. Keep your eye on that. Facebook is constantly rolling out and deploying these things. But scheduling posts is an option. I want you to look into this tool if this is something you're not already doing or you're thinking about. Great for saving time. Facebook Creator Studio, that's www.facebook.com/creator studio. Another really quick thing that I want you to think about as we come towards the end here, reviews and social proof. This, we're going to talk about this in a social media context, but this goes beyond social media. This is about proving that you are in business and that you are doing good business. Facebook allows for reviews and testimonials. It's based on a yes/no question now of, do you recommend this business or not? And people have to actually write a minimum of 25 characters. That's to get rid of, fake or spammy reviews. Beforehand, it was like the star system, and people would just leave 1 star or just 5 stars and not actually have ever been a client or customer. This is a way of kind of tackling that. But seek reviews often. So that you can prove you are in business, you are doing good business. Whenever I talk about reviews and social proof, I kind of call it the story of your grandmother's meatballs. And it goes like, and really the question just goes like this. Who do you trust more? Your grandmother who gives you her meatball recipe, or a group on the list? You trust your grandma, right? So this provides a place for you to see all the other grandmas, to see what actual real people are saying about a business. And then with reviews, and this kind of goes to all engagement, is respond. Respond to everything. When you get a good review, we always thank them for the review, identify what was like most important, and encourage the return purchase or the return visit. If it's a bad review, I'm not going to go too deep into that because there is kind of a formula to follow, but absolutely like take action on it. Here's my big thing. Sure, there's a formula for how to respond to negative reviews. The big thing I say to people in businesses if they get a negative review is fix the problem. It's not just a PR thing. It's not just a communication thing. It's a business thing. Fix the problem if you ever get a negative review. And if anybody has any questions about responding to negative reviews, put it in the chat or we can talk offline, and I can certainly give you my formula on that. But just then respond to everything. When people comment, when people post, respond. It shows that there are caring humans on the other side of the business. Think about it in the real world, right? If it wasn't social media, if someone actually came up to you and asked you a question, you wouldn't not answer, right? You wouldn't just walk away. That'd be bananas. So the same thing applies online. Likewise, if someone comes up to you and says, hey, you did a really good job, I really like this thing you do, you would obviously say, thank you. So respond to everything. Quick and really cool hack. Everybody has the option to receive reviews. You just have to make sure, like 10C has it here. They've got it on their menu. Just make sure you have it. But once you have it, here's my cool thing for getting reviews. I just email a link out to people and say, hey, would you be willing to leave me a review? Here's the link. And everybody's link works the same. So Jordan or Mickey, correct me if I'm wrong, but Innovation Guelph's handle on Facebook is Innovation Guelph, at Innovation Guelph, right? So your URL will always go like this. It'll be facebook.com/ whatever your page username is. So I'm going to use Innovation Guelph. So it's facebook.com/ Innovation Guelph / reviews. Everybody's link is the same. My business page, your business page, every single business page is going to be facebook.com/ whatever your username is / reviews. Email that link out. Hey, if you've enjoyed my business or if you've enjoyed my product, if you can do this on almost on autopilot, schedule out these, after someone makes a purchase or every 3 months or every 6 months, you ask for reviews. Your reviews are going to be ticking up. That social proof is going to increase, and that's really going to increase the impact of your business. That said, let's take a moment for questions from scheduling posts and reviews and social proof.
Okay, I have 2 questions for you regarding reviews, and then we'll circle back with 2 other ones that came in about previous slides, okay?
For sure.
So Juliet's wondering, does the business have control over the reviews? So I'm guessing visibility of reviews. So what if we get a negative review and we don't want people to see it?
Yeah, we never delete reviews. We never delete reviews. Also, though, we can't. Google, Facebook, Yelp, TripAdvisor, all those review platforms don't let people actually delete reviews. The only thing available to you, if someone leaves a review, particularly an undesirable one, and they weren't actually a customer or client of yours, you can report it. In this case, to Facebook, you may have to submit proof that, like client or customer records, that they were never a customer, but you can report it that it's a fake review. Otherwise, no, we can't delete them. However, I do have one hack if you need, and this is not the most kosher thing you can do, but it's a band-aid solution if you have to take a moment. If you get a bad review, you can disable the reviews tab and take reviews off your page. So if you get a bad review, or I know a company that got some really bad PR, and people were just writing them reviews because of the PR that they got. They just took reviews off their page. We took them off entirely so that people couldn't leave those reviews, couldn't see those reviews. However, reviews and social proof are important for business. So those reviews will have to come back eventually. And when that happens, those negative reviews will come. So if you need to freeze them for a moment to gather yourself, figure out your plan, you can remove reviews off your menu, but otherwise, no, you can't delete them.
Okay, thank you. Do you recommend reviews for social enterprises? For example, Nell says they don't sell products, but a platform that only institutions or businesses would purchase, and purchasing as a process rather than a buy-sell interaction. So would enabling reviews and encouraging reviews from your customers in that respect make sense?
I would say yes. There's always someone who will be buying from you. There will always be someone consuming your products or services. That's the nature of business, is that there's output and there's consumable. And the people who are consuming can leave you reviews. So I would argue yes. That sounds like maybe an interesting or a specific one. So whoever left that question, feel free to reach out in the comments or reach out to me privately afterwards through Innovation Guelph, and I would be happy to talk about maybe a quick an easy strategy on that. But yeah, absolutely, reviews are still possible in that case.
Awesome, thanks, Tim. We have some more about reviews, and then I promise I'll circle back to the other ones that came in between. So Natalina, she says, I've had a number of fake reviews on my page and I've tried numerous times to have Facebook remove them with no luck. They were not clients. So I guess what we're looking for is what exactly does Facebook need to see to escalate this process? Because that's obviously very concerning for her.
Yeah. Here's the first, if Facebook is not responding, please comment on the review. Please consider taking down this review. So that, because remember, reviews that's not just what people see. They see the responses as well. They see the engagement that happened. So PR 101, respond and say like, this is not real. I'm going to apologize because Facebook is the worst and can be terrible. And this does happen where they either take their time or they just don't accept your claim that it was fake. On my successful appeals, it's either been one of two things, where they just believed us at face value when we reported it and said like, this is a fake review, this person's never been a client, we know who our clients and customers are. In another case, we did actually submit like a list of names. It was just first name, last name, and email addresses because it was e-commerce. And they accepted our appeal that it was a fake review, or it was a series of fake reviews also. If you can also provide context. The other thing, like what we did, now that I'm talking this out, I can't help but wonder if this helped. Often if you get like a fake review, it's not just one, it tends to be a few. If you can prove that those reviews came in either quick succession or within a reasonable time frame, you can say like, look, we don't normally get reviews at this speed, and this is something that happens. So you can also provide some contextual clues on that and look for those and help in that appeal. I'm sorry that I can't be a bigger help than that, but those are the big things that I've seen work.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Yeah, just another follow-up for that. Natalina, I believe, runs an Italian kitchen, like a cooking school, I think. Sorry if I'm not correct on that, but
oh yeah, oh I know.
Her comment back to them was, I don't believe we had met or you have attended our school. Is that PR wise? Is that enough? Or should she directly say like, you were never a client? Like, what would you suggest? Is that okay?
Get rid of the believe. Make it an undeniably powerful statement. You are not a client. You have never attended. Like factual statements like that. Don't go with any I believes, I feels, don't go with that. Go with a strong, you are not a client. You've never been a client.
Awesome. Very helpful. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have, what if you get an amazing review that you want to pin? So can you pin reviews? Can people see certain reviews first or most prominently?
No, Facebook determines that. Facebook determines what's most relevant to each user. You know what you can do though? So when we talked about posts and how picture posts are, they're kind of in the middle of the line for the hierarchy. What you can do is copy and paste the text of the review, maybe include the person's first name, make a picture graphic, post it, pin that post at the top of the page so that when people come to your page, the first thing they see is that amazing review. And, just put in the caption on the post and say like, this review is found in our reviews, so people can actually see that it's real that way. But that's an option. Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thanks, Tim. So circling back, Sue has a question about, I think it pertains to algorithms. So what times and days are best to post, or anything specific? Is it dependent on business type, or are you just trying to keep it consistent for your base that follows you? What do you suggest?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this keeps coming up. Best time of day to post. That is antiquated thinking and research and best practices. That way of thinking and focusing on best time came out of a time, and actually was over 7 years of the Facebook and actually all social media platforms being purely chronological, seeing posts at the time they were posted in comparison to when other posts went out. That's no longer the case though. The algorithm has completely flipped that on its head. So it's different for your audience. It's different for your community. I say find and play with your times. You still can find research, and some people still try to claim that it does, that there is an optimal time. I'm not totally convinced of that. That said, if you do want to use a benchmark, and I will provide you something here. If I don't have enough data, if I'm working with someone and it's just starting out and we have no idea when the best times are, I automatically start with downtimes when people are more likely to be on their phones. Breakfast, lunch, middle of the afternoon, before dinner time, and like 9 to 12 p.m. when the kids are in bed and we're watching Netflix and just hanging out with our partners or in our comfies, that kind of thing.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have another question pertaining to videos. So Leslie says, when a video is long, and I think she's right in that it's over a minute long on Instagram, it can automatically turn into an Insta story. So you have to click to continue. So in terms of Facebook, this would apply if you have a longer Facebook video that you are posting on Instagram as well. So would that still happen if it's scheduled through Creator Studio?
Yes. So long videos on Facebook don't get moved anywhere. I think the longest video you're allowed, I looked into that. Facebook, if you're longer than a minute, you move over to Instagram TV. So yeah, so no matter how long your video is, if you schedule it on Facebook, it's going to be fine. It's going to live on its own. Facebook, or if you're scheduling to Instagram, it will move over to IGTV if it's longer than a minute. Great question.
Is there certain types of content that you'd want to keep under a minute then to make it more accessible? Or do you think it's okay that there's an extra click that they have to kind of?
I think if your content is promotional in nature, keep it short, keep it shorter. That your best content, your best moments in a video on promotional content should be within 5 to 15 seconds. Not the first 5, because videos are going to be silent. People have to choose to click it and have to go back. 5 to 15 seconds is your sweet spot to do something. So I guess if it's promotional in nature, keep it shorter. Otherwise, if it's really good quality, value add content, you can get away with longer content for sure.
Awesome, thanks. And that was pretty much our next question from Nell. I think you answered it. It was the best length for video, so that answers that one as well.
Perfect. For the sake of time, we're going to move on to ads. We're just going to finish up with ads, and then we have a giant catch-all. We have 30 minutes for all of the questions, where everything is sacred there. Facebook ads. So, like I said before, just posting and hoping your audience sees it. We know a smaller number of people, fewer and fewer people are seeing that content. And that's why ads are important. Here today, the big thing that I just want to draw your attention to is the difference between boosts versus ads. Boosts are regular posts. First of all, they start from a post that you have done. So if you're thinking about boosting posts, look at your post that did the best. And I'm not talking about the ones that Facebook tells you, hey, this one is performing better. Don't listen to them. There's a million reasons why we dismiss that. You know in your gut which did better. It got more reactions, it got more comments, it got more engagement, or it's just really promotional and you need people to see it. They start off with a post versus an ad, which you craft from the ground up and you create every single part of it. Boosts are great, like it says here, for quick short-term bursts. Boosts should never be like a long-term strategy or like a real revenue generating strategy. I recommend boosts be more for like getting engagement, getting more followers, or getting more attention and driving consideration, versus I would use ads for a more intentional, more structured opportunity. And the second that we're talking, quick terminology, single ad, one thing that you put money behind, you show it to one person, to one group of people. Ad set is a series of ads. Often we're trying different audiences, we're trying different things within one ad set, a series of ads. Campaign can include a bunch of different ads, but to organize it well so that your back end isn't just a mess, it should actually include ad sets. So it's a series of things. Ads are big and intentional. They allow you bigger and better opportunities, boost quicker, shorter. The name of the game, though, here's what makes any ad successful: specificity. Specificity. So a couple of specifics and best practices that I recommend. One, when you're doing an ad, it asks you, what is the age range of people you want to show this to? Your age range should never, ever be more than 15 years. So 40 to 55-year-olds. 32 to 47. It should never be larger than 15 years, right? Because people in different ages and different categories and different brackets and different life experiences, we talk to them differently. They have different wants, they have different needs. So we have to consider that in our ad. Our qualifiers, what do we include? Remember how we talked about ads before as like a lot of data that's available to us? Well, we can choose the factors in the different parts of people's lives that decide who will see our ad. A couple qualifiers that I put in that are specific that I like to use. I like to put in engaged shoppers when I'm running ads. That's always a qualifier I put in. Engaged shoppers are people who have seen an ad ever on Facebook, and they either submitted their information, or they actually clicked and made a purchase. Because those people are already used to interacting with ads, they're more likely to do it again. So that's why I include that. If I'm selling a retail item or a service and it costs generally around more than $100, I will also put in frequent travelers, people who have checked in on Facebook into an airport more than once a year, because people who travel tend to have a little more buying power and they're making purchases. So that's a qualifier that I use. A couple other cool ones that you may want to think about that I've seen in my time. You can target homeowners, people who actually own their home. You can target parents of kids based on the age of the kids. So the different categories for these are parents of adult children, it's 27 to 18, parents of teenagers, 17 to 13, parents of, and then it goes, 12 to 5, 5 to 2, 2 to 0. So you can target parents specifically. You can target based on education level. You can target based on interest. Be really specific in who you're targeting. And then when it comes to how much should I spend on my ad, I've got a base formula that I personally use in determining that. Math aside, the big thing I say is when you're running an ad, think about what you stand to gain. How much money do you stand to make if you got conversions, if you made sales? And what percentage of that would you be willing to put into your marketing and advertising? That's how I like to decide my base benchmark of how much should I be putting in for an ad. If you're just thinking of boosting posts, you want to get seen by more people, you want like a little more engagement, then I start to think about, $10 to $20 is good for a boosted ad, just to put it out into the world, see where it goes, see what works, and see where it lands, and play with that. Obviously, if you put more money, it gets seen by more people, and Facebook is going to recommend it get optimized for more people. So that's an option for you. But otherwise, be specific. Be specific in who you want to see your ad, what you want them to do with it, what you want to happen. That's the big key and secret to Facebook ads. That said, open forum Q&A for any questions that people have burning around Facebook, what's going on in that world. Jordan, I'll pass it off to you to start fielding there.
Yeah, apologies if anyone can hear the leaf blower outside my window. So Heather's wondering, what is more effective, boosted posts or creating ads?
Totally depends on your goal. My personal bias is towards ads though, because you can truly, you get more features available through ads than you get through boosts. But I also love that when you create an ad, you truly have to make a decision at every single step of the way. Whereas the layout for boosts and how boosts have, and historically how they've been, they just try to get as much money out of you in as quick a time as possible. So it's really easy to skip everything, to skip the really important stuff and just say, yeah, here's my credit card, pay. So both work. My preference is towards ads because you have more flexibility and freedom. Great question.
Thanks, Tim. What are the pros and cons of Hootsuite?
Oh, do we have 100 hours? Okay, pro of Hootsuite. And let me admit my bias. When I do use a scheduler, Hootsuite is the one that I personally use. Mind you, I'm paying for a bigger account because I'm doing this for more people, but Hootsuite, really powerful, really reliable. Their customer service is fantastic. I love all the different features available. So you can boost posts, you can run ads through Facebook, you can see analytics and insight and data. You can also do competitor view. So I like within one dashboard. I can see my work, but then I can see the work of other people, and I can see how posts are doing there. It's flexible, it's powerful, it's got a lot available to it. Cons. When it comes to Facebook and Instagram, it's not Facebook Creator Studio. There's no official research on this, but I'm part of between two groups of social media managers I'm in. I'm connected to about like 50,000 other social media managers. And almost everyone agrees that like your reach and your engagement does better when you schedule posts through Facebook Creator Studio. So that's kind of a con for Hootsuite. Also, Hootsuite, though, when I compare it to all the other scheduling platforms, Hootsuite is actually one of the more complex ones. Like finding your way around it and making it really work can be difficult. The other big con for it, for lay people or people who don't work in social media management like me, is if you don't know what you're looking for, and you just have all these options available for you, it is overwhelming. I have tried to teach Hootsuite to groups of people, and the first feeling and the prevailing feeling with Hootsuite is overwhelm. So just something to be careful of with Hootsuite. Great question.
Thank you. Is buying followers still a thing? Do you buy an ad to increase members in your community?
Oh, that's fair. Yes, like paying for ads to encourage people to follow you. Yes, buying followers, for the love of God and all that is holy, don't do it. Don't buy it. That violates every single, and I can say this with confidence, every single platform's terms of service says that it is illegal, that you can get shut down immediately for buying followers and connections. Don't do it. You can run ads to encourage people just to follow you. That's actually one of the cheapest ads to run and one of my favorites because it's so easy, but don't buy followers.
Yeah, in that person's defense, I didn't put the quotes around it. So she says it's buying followers. So she did mean the ad. So I do apologize.
Oh, okay. Yeah, running ads to get followers. Good thing.
Literally buying followers, not the best. Next question from Brian. How long should Facebook Live videos be? Is there a cutoff? Is there something we should aim for?
If you're in business, 3 to 10 minutes, minimum 3. Facebook even admits, and like I've seen this happen. So a small percentage of people will get of your page followers will get a notification like, "Hey, Innovation Guelph is live." But once your video's been live for 3 minutes, another notification goes out to even more followers that you are live. Because remember, you're keeping people on the platform. That said, in business, I've never seen anybody who's been able to really keep a broadcast going longer than 10 minutes. The only times that I see broadcasts going longer than 10 minutes, and these tend to go to like an hour, 2 hours longer, is if they're broadcasting like an actual event that you are watching. So I've seen people who broadcasted concerts, summits, trainings, that kind of thing. That's where it'll be longer. But otherwise, if you're in business and you're trying to do a Facebook Live to promote something or let people get to know you, 3 to 10 minutes is your sweet spot.
Awesome, thanks. Natalina was wondering if you were a mentor, and you are a mentor with us. So Natalina, I've noted that, and I'm going to get Mickey to connect with you and anyone else who has questions about Tim's capacity to help in terms of the specific program that you're in. So please stand by for an email about that after I've noted that request. And our next question is, if we don't have the budget for high quality video content, is it better to not post videos at all or post lower quality videos shot on a phone without editing? Which is a great question.
I want to challenge anyone who says a phone does not give you great quality video. There are only 2 things that I really want to encourage you to do to make sure that your video turns out really well with your phone. 1, film it horizontal, not vertical, because if it's horizontal like this, more people will get the full picture, especially on desktop or mobile. You tend to be able to see a little more. And then the only other thing that I'm kind of doing like here in my room is make sure the light is coming towards you. You don't want light like weirdly behind you. That backlighting darkens your face. If you're only lit from half your face, it creates this like kind of scary contrast where like half of you is really bright, half of you is really dark. And then the only other thing, I have to find it here, is find your camera, like the literal camera hole, get that camera hold to be at the same height as at the bridge of your nose, right between your eyebrows and right between your eyes, because then it looks it's most dead on. If you're too low, you create distrust because it's like you're talking down to your audience. If you're looking up, it creates distrust because your audience is looking down on you. So sideways, look it in the eye, just check your lighting, and I would argue that any modern smartphone can give you a great quality video.
Awesome, thanks. Annalisa was wondering, do you think Instagram is overtaking Facebook as a preferred platform? And I'm sure, Tim, you have a different answer depending on if we're just talking about business versus on if we're talking about social in general. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Okay, so this goes a little beyond social media. This is getting a little philosophical, like who would take a big step back in the world. Facebook is like any other major civilization. Civilizations in human history rise and fall. The most recent tech example of this is MySpace. I think Facebook is on its decline. I think it has absolutely hit its peak and it has begun its descent. That said, it's going to be very, very, very slow because it's such a massive platform. But we see this in the amount of lawsuits that Facebook is constantly up against, the distrust, especially here for us in the Western world, how the US government is responding to Facebook. We're seeing its decline. From a research perspective, we are seeing the number of monthly active users and the people who sign up, both of those numbers are declining, where Instagram is increasing, right? Not everybody actually makes the connection between Instagram and Facebook. So yes, I do think Instagram is very, very slowly, but very, very surely starting to overtake Facebook. That all said, that's, Tim's high level philosophical discussion about Facebook, but it is still so large right now. There are still engagement rates. There are still people there using it and successfully using it in business that we can't totally concern ourselves with that. We still have to work with what we have here. And we still have a powerful and gigantic platform. So we can't totally ignore it yet.
Thanks, Tim. Our next question from Nell, what kind of live content do you suggest for 3 to 10 minute videos, that benchmark? So she usually sees only events and webinars live for organizations and businesses. And I think this is probably especially relevant during COVID when a lot of places whose businesses had events at the wheelhouse aren't able to do that. So what would you suggest for places that don't necessarily have content at the tips of their fingers for live videos?
That's really hard to answer without knowing the type of business. So actually, let me counter offer this. And let's do maybe 3 to 5 depending on time. Jordan, I'm going to lean on you here. If people can drop in the comments or tell me what kind of businesses do people have here on this call, and I'll give you ideas for like live video content. I'm really good at coming up with content ideas. So give me some examples of businesses and I will give you examples of live videos to do.
Okay, so we have, let's start first, human resources consultant, so consulting company.
Tell me stories. Tell me stories about really win me with humor. I'm really easy to win with humor. Tell me funny stories about human resources, things we see in the workplace, what people try to get away with. I would also love just a real genuine explainer, especially as a small business. Like if it's just me and I'm just starting out, or maybe I have 3 employees, why do I need human resources? What is the role of human resources in my business? That's a really easy and fun sit down live video.
Awesome. So a couple I think I can combine. So we have Dog Treat Bakery, military themed t-shirts and apparel. So places selling products, places selling merch.
Oh my God, show me the process of how you make your products. Let us get behind the scenes. That's actually what got live so popular in its early days, was letting people go behind the scenes to see things. Show me how you make your products. Show me your inspiration. Show me what you're working on. That kind of thing. Oh, that's a good juicy one. I could go on for hours, but I'll stop there.
Awesome. Our original question from Nell. So this company is an online reporting platform for campus sexual violence, which is very specific.
Oh God, where do I start? Interviews. I want interviews with experts. I want interviews with people on campus. I want interviews with counselors, that kind of thing. I want do a live video on tips. How do I say this nicely? I might get in a little bit of trouble for this, but look at perpetrators of violence and talk about what are some of the causes of that. Do a live talking to, talking to men about maybe things that may cause that. So much to work with on that one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Another specific one from Sue, hay feeder for horses called the Optimizer.
Sorry, run that one by me one more time.
A hay feeder, so horses, called
Okay.
the Optimizer. That's the name of her product.
Okay, show me this in action. Show me prepping it, show it in action. Especially take time to feature the farm that we're on or where these horses are. Let us get to know the area, the business there. Show us in action. I mean, animals. You can always win with animals on social media.
Awesome. I do think we have some time for a couple more to go through because everything is so specific and I'd hate to miss one. So we have from Jill from Lighthouse Lemonade, we have Heritage Maritime Lemonade Citrus Beverages. So what beyond the process of making them could you suggest? Anything else?
Oh, so think like wine and alcohol pairings. What should I be pairing my lemonade with? What kind of, and give me like every type of meal. So give me breakfast, lunch, and dinner ideas to pair that with. Oh my gosh, talk about ways to spruce it up. Like lemonade can just look like a lemonade, but there are lots of different ways that you can embellish it and make it fun. Yes. Oh, and actually one more personal bias on the lemonade. Talk to me about why we should consume lemonade at all points in the year. My partner is one of these people who he says like, oh, that's only a summer drink. And I'm like, no. Lemonade is delicious all year round. Talk to me about why lemonade is delicious in the winter, in the spring, in the fall, not just summer. That's a big one. And we're coming into winter. So yeah.
Good idea. Love it. Okay, there's a few here. Okay, so Rosemary asks, dog walking safety device wristband. Would you suggest maybe a demo for a video?
Oh, yes, a demo. Show it to me in action. Show me just regular dog walking and like opportunities for using this product and examples like that. That would be great.
Awesome. Okay, we have OKR Financial. So OKR Financial provides non-dilutive bridge financing solutions to Canadian small to medium enterprises and startups. How would we communicate that?
Financial's got to be one of the easiest, maybe for me, weekly, because and there are some industries or some practices where I say you're not just your own practice, you are an ambassador for your entire industry. Financial's one of them. Wedding is another one, but financial, it's not just about like that need that you're providing. Talk about all things related to finance, especially if you're providing loans and credit. Talk to me about borrowing. Talk to me about credit. Talk to me about improving credit. Talk to me about habits and mindset and limiting beliefs that people have around money. There's a lot of opportunities there. Yeah. Let's do a couple more and then move on to other questions.
Okay, I'll take the ones that have come in as of right now. So we'll do those. And then we did have another actual question to circle back from Kelly and Paul. So I didn't miss that one, guys. So so Life of a Server app, again, that's Kelly and Paul. So they share on their platform memes such as when life gives you lemons. So Life of a Server app is a social platform for people in the restaurant and hospitality industry. So what would you suggest?
I'm going to jump in. She actually was giving that one there was Life Gives You Lemons was actually a suggestion for Jill.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Wendy.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good one.
There's Coding for Kids with Belinda.
Okay. Hi, Belinda. Huge fan. Oh my gosh, why is coding cool? Show us the classroom. Show us what the kids are working on. Give us case studies. Oh my gosh, if you can't, now mind you, because this is kids, this is gonna get a little funny, but bear with me. One, make sure all the kids and their parents have signed releases so that they can appear on picture and video. I would do like a demo or like a show off day, and you literally just show the video like over the kid's shoulder at their computer or whatever they're coding, and let them literally show the world what they're working on. That would be so cool. Belinda, on the back end, programs that you're exploring, things you're playing with, show us that. I think coding can be interesting for people of all ages, but if you give us the imagination of a child and apply it to adults, we kind of feed that back to our kids. So I would say play with that option as well. Great question.
Thank you. Okay, so I do have 2 more. I don't want to miss them because they came early on. They came fast and furious. So we have accountant and then specialized physiotherapy with focus on concussion treatment. So 2 very different ones.
Ooh, okay. Remind me of the second one, but I'm going to start with accountant first. So for the accountant, I would start with a live. You can do this at any frequency. Once a week would be awesome. During tax time, I recognize this may be harder. You can do more than once a week. Common misconceptions, misbeliefs. And things we think about accounting. So I would do a video on like, what does an accountant actually do? What are things they are looking for? What are services they actually provide, other than like looking at all your finance and putting it in a way that appeals to the government, that kind of thing. I want to see common mistakes. I want to see mistakes that people make in their own accounting and examples and how to fix it. I want to see, oh my God, success stories of what's a really cool thing that someone came to you for their taxes with their accounting, and a really cool thing that came of it, or a really happy solution, that kind of thing. I'm not a huge fan of selling on fear, but you can also talk about like maybe things that didn't go so well, maybe things where the government did get involved and where an accountant was a great intermediary. Those are some great live video ideas, I think.
Awesome, thank you. And then to remind you of the second one, again, this is the last example before we get back into our more general questions for Tim. So that was, again, specialized physiotherapy with focus on concussion treatment.
Here's one. So start to talk about situations and causes of concussions. Were you in a car accident? Were you playing sports? Was it something else entirely? So start to talk about that and just safety tips around that. So if you're an athlete, steps and safety tips so that you don't get a concussion in the first place. Car safety, that kind of thing. You know what I would love, and maybe this is because I am not a science person, but I would love to explore what do physiotherapists actually do for people with concussions, and tell me that that's a really unique and really cool intersection that I would want to learn more about. Like, what are the problems and what are the results that some people see? I would, show us the equipment. Show us the equipment. Oh, here's another one. And this isn't just for the physiotherapist, this is actually for almost anyone who has a physical space to their business. Walk us through your practice. I would love to see a live video, like show me what it looks like to walk through the front door, where's the receptionist, especially right now through COVID. What are the safety protocols? So like, where do I sanitize my hands? Where do I get a mask? How does this work? Show me where I'm gonna be working with the physiotherapist. Walk me through the physical space and give me a tour is another idea.
Awesome, thanks. I lied. Our very last one, example-wise, is Innovation Guelph. What would you suggest we post on live videos?
Innovation Guelph! Oh my gosh, where do I start? Especially because Toolkit Tuesdays are now monthly. I would do a quick live video, collaborate with your speaker and with Innovation Guelph. Say like, hey, what are we talking about? What are some key points? There's that. 2, talk about case studies. I'm never a fan of like a case study for the sake of a case study. So not saying like, here's our client, we are proud of them. No, like actually go live with them and say like, what has the work been? What have you done? What have the results been? That kind of thing. 3, actually, no, this would be my first one that I would do live. Innovation Guelph has some really brilliant humans working in it who have a lot of really powerful experience. I would let mentors and staff share their top 3 tips in business. Go live and do, my top 3 or my top 5, that kind of thing. There are a lot of people with superpowers at Innovation Guelph, and I would love to see that in a regular video series. Great question.
Awesome, thank you, Tim. So circling back from Life of a Server app, Kelly and Paul ask, their Facebook page has over 380,000 followers. What stage are you considered an influencer at? And then my follow-up, is it different from platform to platform?
It is technically different. Facebook is funny because like we don't often talk about influencers on Facebook. We talk more on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. For Facebook, I would go with the general benchmarks that we use across the board. So micro influencer is 5,000 to 10,000. A macro influencer is 10,000 to 100,000. a standard influencer is 100,000 to 1 million, and then anyone with more than 1 million is like full scale influencer. So 300,000, you're really great. You're in that, like, you're almost at the top. And wow, kudos on having that many page followers. So yeah, I hope that answers that question.
Wonderful, thank you. Joe's asking, what's the best way to promote a niche item?
Ooh, I'm always a huge fan of, find what is the actual benefit, not the feature, the benefit to people, identify the need, want, problem, and who's using it, why are they using it, and talk about that specifically. Without going into examples, I can't go much further than that, but that's my go-to, like how I would promote a really niche product. Unless someone can give like an example here on this call that I can provide a couple ideas, that's how I'd start.
Awesome. I'll watch for a follow-up from that one in case somebody has an example. But our next question from Heather is, as a life coach and intuitive, is it better to do Facebook Lives that are focused on helpful tips, oracle cards, etc., or letting them know about who I am in my life? Again, we're thinking about the purpose of social media is to know, like, and trust, and that applies specifically to what she does. I hope I articulated that properly for you, Heather. But what are your thoughts on that, Tim?
It's not an either or, it's a both and. When I think of content and what we're posting and what we're saying, I have two categories. There's the positive, feel good, value add, or there's sales. And sales is not like just dollars in the door, like buy this thing. It's like sign up for the newsletter, engage with me, that kind of thing. I wouldn't pit the two against each other. I would actually make them, I would put them together. The only thing I say when you're doing like the personal, like get to know me, is make sure it's interesting, but make sure it also is relevant to the business. BuzzFeed, whose business model was entirely based on repeatedly creating viral content, they found the number one factor that made content really successful is when a business and the community collaborated to create. So if you're letting people get to know you, let us, like in particular, I would say, let me know something you're working on and let us like almost co-create with you. So for example, so I recently got married and it was a year leading up to that. And I let people know that about the wedding planning process and I kind of framed it and said, like, planning a wedding is very much like running a business. And I asked and I crowdsourced for ideas all the time on everything from venue to decorations and that kind of thing. So we kind of co-created, and it was really good for my following, as terrible as that sounds. But that's an example. Let people kind of co-create with you, but otherwise mix it up between letting us get to know you and providing value.
Awesome, thank you. I don't see anything else that's come in unless I've missed something. You can recopy and paste it for me, but I think I have everything. We do have a couple more minutes for questions before we begin our wrap up, before Mickey wraps up. So anything else comes in, please feel free to jump in. I think it's pretty clear that there are no stupid questions, and Tim gets very excited about all of them. So anything else that anyone's wondering about?
Perfect.
Hey, Tim, can you talk a little bit about keeping your personal Facebook page separate from your business page?
Yes. So let's actually start with correct terminology. Personal profile, business page. The two are separate. And if you want, you don't have to let anyone know who you are on the personal side. You don't have to list yourself as an employee. You don't have to talk about yourself, that kind of thing. Keep business, business, keep personal, personal. But otherwise know that like that division totally exists if you want it to. I hope that answers the question.
So if there's no more questions, sorry, hold on. Life of servers. They say that we have a really great way to post one-liners. It's trending right now, and they get a lot of shares and likes for it.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different apps that will syndicate, if that's the right word, that will pull different like memes or trending posts or that kind of thing and allow you to share it out. I'm always just I'm a little nervous because like machine learning isn't perfect, and you always want to like make sure that it's like personalized. The other thing I see is that sometimes, you know, once people forget to, they get into a habit that they forget to post, or they get too busy, they're just relying on these, and then it becomes repetitive. It's no longer interesting. The audience may not be crazy about it. So yes, great tool. Just don't rely on it too heavily.
How do we sorry, Jordan's way better at this than I am. We have a product. It's an insole and some future services to reduce falls in older adults. So how do we reach older adult groups on Facebook?
Oh my gosh, senior groups and groups for older adults are booming. I'm particularly aware of this because I live with my in-laws who are older adults, 79 and 81 respectively, and they are all about their Facebook groups. Find those groups. A new Facebook ad targeting parameter is that you can target people in groups and based on their group interests. So you can do that. With Facebook ads, you can also, remember, in being specific in your age range, you can target older adults. You can say that your ad you only want it to 55 to 65 or plus or whatever age, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I would honestly just go based on keywords. Search keywords. When you search on Facebook, most notably on desktop, not on your phone, when you search for something, you can choose like what you're looking for. Are you looking for a page? Are you looking for a group? Are you looking for a person? Are you looking for locations? There's a lot of them. Search groups. Actually choose groups with your keywords, and see if you can join those groups, if you can promote your product or service that way, if you can collaborate with the people who host the group or create that kind of group and provide value to people. It's a couple ideas.
Wonderful. Now, just keeping an eye on the time, I do have to do the wrap up now.
Cool.
So thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate it. Everybody else on the phone call, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of this. I think that we all learned something for sure. But Tim is one of our mentors and industry specialists at Innovation Guelph. So if you do need to reach out with questions or would like some help, then I can connect you with Tim, and we can kind of go from there depending on program and fit and what your needs are. We can take a look and see how Tim can help. Do want to post a link to a survey. So just a quick little, tell us how Tim did, tell us how you like the session, if you're going to be back again, a couple of quick questions if you don't mind filling it out. There's a link there. You can do it right now, or else we will send it to you in the follow-up email. So we will be sending you a copy of the slides and the presentation within the next couple of days. You should be expecting that in your inbox. So again, I want to thank all of our corporate sponsors, which you heard a question from OKR Financial today. So they're on the call and actually participated. So that's wonderful. But also BDO, Invest in Guelph, Reese Informatica, OKR Financial, Morexis, and ISU Software. All wonderful companies that support what we do here. And that's wonderful. So Tim, thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon and hope to see you next time.
Thank you, friends.